Welcome back to the Folding Towers podcast. Every now and then we like to browse through the back catalogue and pull out a cracker of an episode that we feel really needs to be heard again, and that's what we're doing today. We are revisiting a beautiful conversation that we had with Kylie Hicks back in March 2024 about what it really means to work with pain. Not just physical, but emotional and nervous system pain. Kylie talks about her unique approach, which includes understanding how trauma loops affect chronic pain and why the therapist-client relationship matters more than any learned technique. She talks about the importance of being hands-on and how many people experiencing chronic pain have often never been touched by their treating medical teams. Also, why individualized onboarding and long-term care plans are entirely appropriate because this pain has often taken years to manifest, and so long-term care is entirely appropriate to unravel and repattern. And Kylie also identifies emotional patterns that reinforce pain and combines bodywork with emotional awareness and tools such as NLP to gently nudge her clients back towards health. Check out KylieHicksCoaching.com where you can learn with Kylie how to make a real difference in the lives of your clients who are stuck in long-term pain patterns. So whether you're a seasoned massage therapist or just starting out, this episode is full of gold. So take a breath, settle in, and join us as we replay our conversation with Kylie Hicks.
Hi, guys. Hi, David and Jackie. And hello to your listeners. Thanks for having me.
For those who don't know, where is Mildura?
Oh, right up the very top of Victoria. We're like the food bowl.
The food bowl, yes. Grapes and oranges and all those types of
and things. The river.
Yeah.
And plenty of sunshine.
Yes, lots of sunshiny days. Well, Kylie has been a hands-on therapist for over 20 years. You're a veteran of the industry. So after starting her own practice, she quickly noticed that there were missing links when it comes to the treatment of chronic pain. And Kylie has developed a unique approach and some techniques which have delivered some really amazing results with chronic pain clients. And Kylie believes that the greatest tool in her toolbox is the client-therapist relationship, and her empathetic approach to working with those people helps to regulate the nervous system and defensive patterns. Now, this is going to be an amazing episode, Kylie. I think we're in for a bit of a wild ride.
Yeah, unpacking my brain might be wild.
We're going to start with the question which we like to ask all of our guests. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Oh, so for me, I'm probably going to say the worst superhero. She's got no tools. She uses her resources. And the movie was a flop. Catwoman.
Catwoman.
Nicole Kidman?
No, Halle Berry.
Halle Berry. Yeah.
I've gone old school.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Is there a specific reason for that?
I think she's a bit of a cat burglar and stealth.
It's very sassy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
People know me well. People who know me well would say I'm a bit sassy.
So, Kylie, tell us how you got started out in massage.
Well, so I did work experience with a physio and a naturopath, and neither appealed to me. It was just not connected enough. And then in year 12, I was kind of the go-to for fixing people's headaches. So I kind of just went, well, why don't I just do that? And so I enrolled in the diploma course because I kind of already knew how to fix people's headaches. I just didn't know how I was doing it.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And it just went from there. I went, yeah, this makes sense to me. Yeah, so I just put all the pieces together and
you wanted to figure out how you were actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. You just have that innate ability to read the body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the physio side of things didn't appeal to me because it was more mechanical,
Okay.
not as hands-on.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was a really young year 12. I wasn't ready to go away. Mildred is a long way from uni. I was a young year 12. I turned 18 in May the following year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a very young start for our industry because a lot of our listeners, this might be their second or third career. And
Yeah.
many of them haven't got started in massage until they're into their 30s or 40s.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it just made sense to me.
Let's talk about your professional journey. How did you go from helping people with headaches as a young 18-year-old to working with complex and chronic pain?
So I guess the simple answer is chronic pain clients were kind of, I never advertised, so they kind of found me. Even though we do learn a lot in our training, I don't think, look, let's face it, we're just given the bare basics and we have to make that work. And when we're taught about how to fix a headache in a client, the client that we're practicing on doesn't have a headache. Pretty much everything I learned was hands-on in my business with a client. So if a client walked in with an issue that no one had taught me, I had to learn on them. Yeah, eventually chronic pain just became, I saw the gaps, and let's face it, there's a lot of gaps, and I don't think it's getting any better.
I agree with that. I think there's a lot of things we need to still learn. Yeah.
Yeah, so the majority of my clients went from, headache cycles of, a couple of years to then people that have, in their 50s that have had no luck on headaches. And they might have started getting headaches in their teens and no one's found an answer. So by the time they would get to me, they're on trial meds and preventative wafers and injections.
Yeah, there is so much in that field where the only allopathic approach to the body is just palliative and that management, keeping people comfortable. And you see the frustration in your clients. It almost, I've come to see you, but I've got no hope because no one has ever given me hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that self-fulfilling cycle.
Yeah.
As you're describing that, I'm remembering conversations that I've had with some of my clients who've presented with similar things. And yeah, like the neck especially is something in my experience that therapists are just not really taught very well, or people are really not keen to work on people that have chronic headaches in particular. It seems like that's my experience anyway. So, yeah, from what I've heard from my clients, I get a lot of people come to me, they go, I've had migraines for years. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's fix this. Let's actually see how we can sort this out for you, because they've been to 10 other therapists and they've done nothing for them. So, yeah, that's really interesting that you would specifically talk about headaches.
Yeah, headaches are probably my favorite.
Yeah, right.
And especially the ones that particularly are there all the time, so they never go away.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the point that you made, Jackie, about therapists are scared to touch that sort of level of chronic pain.
Yeah.
So what happens is that isolates the client, and they're already massively isolated. They've got no answers. They're so detached and living in dissociation because they kind of have to get up in the morning and go to work. So if they start thinking about their headaches, it's almost like they're in autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they don't have hope. So they detach.
Yeah.
So the worst thing that as a therapist that we can do is not touch that. And so many of my clients walk in the door and they've been to myos and physios. They've been on the medication loop. My last headache client's got 3 neurologists and they're all disagreeing about medications. And so I go, has anyone actually touched you? No. Here's these exercises. here's these stretches, here's this medication. It's so sad.
In quite a number of episodes now, never underestimate the power of
Yep.
just a simple, relaxing massage. We
Yep.
actually touch the person.
Yeah, so the ongoing headaches that sort of are there all the time, kind of like a nagging toothache, they're probably my favorite because if that pattern's broken, the client knows straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're cluster headaches or they come sometimes when it's, you know, in between my cycle or you know, I've had a bad day at work, I have to put myself to bed because I get a headache, they're really hard to read. So the ones with patterns, they're my favorite.
That is amazing. And it almost makes me want to drive 4.5 hours to come and get a massage from you. Because I have chronic headaches.
I've got someone in Shepparton sitting on my waiting list. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But anyway.
Wow. That must be a nice feeling, though, to have people from far and wide to say, oh, my God, if only you were closer, like I would come and see you in a heartbeat.
Oh, look, Jackie, I'm not going to lie. It used to be a nice feeling. Now it's a lot.
Oh, that's not good.
Especially since COVID too, you know, at a pandemic and a whole lot of uncertainty, what do you think is going to explode? Chronic pain.
Yeah.
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 There's that trauma loop that is often missed
Yep.
in the process as well. And
well, trauma is linked pretty much to any chronic pain client who walks in, because how can it not be? And it doesn't necessarily have to be major trauma either. Trauma is anything that's overwhelmed your nervous system at some point, to the point where it doesn't know what to do. So if your nervous system doesn't know what to do, that's literally a trauma loop for chronic pain. So yeah, I kind of expect it to be a given with every client who walks in.
tell us about that onboarding process. The person comes through the door for the first time. They may have read about you, they've been recommended to you. How do you go through assessing that person? How do you talk with them? And how do you brief them about what to expect over the next few weeks? Because I think too many of our industry expect to have the one treatment wonder, the miracle, which is really unfair. So how do you prepare your client for what comes next?
So every client is different and rapport is different, depending on their profile. So quite often I will profile them while I'm talking to them. I will never, ever give them false hope. Let's just see how we go. I'm not preparing them for even pain relief. It's let's get your story from scratch. I know you've said this over and over to multiple therapists before, but I get one window, one chance to get your story, and it matters to me. I'm quite particular on the timeline. So what happened then, and then what? So what was the very first symptoms, and then what happened or didn't happen for those symptoms to increase? Because the symptoms aren't actually the cause. They're not. A client will only normally tell you symptoms. So I backtrack to what was the original cause, and majority of the time it's something simple that just got overlooked. They may not have got hands-on treatment at the right timing. They may have had an injury that was quite simple, and whether it was scar tissue or a traumatic event, could have been a car accident that, you know, it healed, and then 3 months later, 4 months, 5 months later, they've still got pain. But the initial injury healed. So why do I still have pain? It's go back to the doctor. They scan, they test, everything's there. They can't find anything because it's in the soft tissue.
Yeah.
It's all normal. Or what's even worse is, you've got a bulging L5. Well, bulging L5 might not be the thing that's causing you pain. It might have been there before you had your injury. So they've walked around for 5 years saying I've got a bulging L5 and that's why my hip hurts.
I've had people say to me, oh, I broke my leg a while back, or, broke a bone somewhere.
Yeah.
And then in the further conversation, it turns out that the accident that happened where they broke the bone was like 25 years ago when they were a child or very young.
Yeah.
And then they're saying, oh, that bone, like it never healed. And the disconnect that I hear with some of those stories is incredible, because firstly, the bone actually, it did heal. You're not walking with a limp. You're like the doctors have literally told you everything's fine. But like you just said, the trauma around what happened is what's not healed. But they're carrying that sort of false information about, well, I've still got this injury, like from that broken bone 25 years ago. It's so fascinating to hear some of the stories that people tell themselves, because they don't really understand what's happening, and there's that disconnect between knowing how trauma really does affect us and what actually happens in the body. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, it is. And I think the thing is too, they've been labelled with something over the journey, and they've been told things by other therapists and doctors and neurologists, and it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just, how do you know that that was true? It may not have been where your pain was coming from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about getting the story. And I think too, I do look at stories different. I profile what the nervous system was doing at that point, what was going on for you. What help did you have? What have you tried? What works? What doesn't work? I think most people they're lost in the cycle of the pain. So I guess for me on appointment 1, my priority is I need to find them. That's pretty much my objective on appointment 1.
David and I are both vigorously nodding right now. No one else that's listening to this could see us. So I'm just saying, like, David and I is like, yes, much yes.
Yeah. So if the client says to me, oh my God, that makes sense to me, or how did you know that, or any of those types of comments, I go, right, now we're in the right, we're where we need to be. So there's the link that's been missing in the past. And sometimes it's validating them, and sometimes, it's finding the missing piece of the puzzle. It's different depending on the client, but the cycle's kind of the same. I pretty much onboard a client these days, like I only work with chronic pain now, injuries and things like that. They're just not for me. Chronic pain is just my thing.
Fair enough.
And sometimes even if my regular clients come in and they've had a netball injury or something like that, I just go, oh, go and see the physio or the myo, man. If you've had it for 3 months and it's still there, come back and see me. Then it will make sense to me.
It's just withhold treatment for 6 months. Then you'll be chronic, and then I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, then it's chronic. Yeah. I told you it was fun unpacking my brain, David. So these days I pretty much onboard a client. They have to have 2 appointments booked. Why I do that is because the client actually already has some coping strategies in place. There's no way that it will work long term, but what strategies they are using are the best ones that they have at the time. So if I'm going to start with a client, I stick with it until that pain cycle's broken. There's a way out of chronic pain, and it's quite particular. You can't just have one appointment and then 3 weeks later have another appointment, and then, it's got to be a treatment plan.
So you have those first 2 appointments pretty close together?
Within 7 days, ideally. And I think that's why it's so frustrating for the people on the waiting list, because most of them are new. yeah, so to get them on board in my calendar is tricky. So yeah, once I start with them, they're the priority until that pain cycle's broken, and then maintaining for longer than a week, maintaining for a fortnight, maintaining for a month, and then we start interrupting a lot of their beliefs around pain. Because the belief around pain is like pain's real, but the belief has to change as well.
So, Kylie, you are a master practitioner in NLP, which has given you a different approach to understanding how the brain ticks and the interrupting those patterns. How are you using, without giving away too many trade secrets, how are you using NLP to assist your people out of that?
Chronic pain obviously has physical patterns, but it also has emotional patterns. Clients don't always know that. So we gently have conversations around, usually on appointment one, I'll mention, and how does that when you feel pain and it increases, do you notice that your pain heightens on a more emotional day? And 100% of the time they'll say, oh yeah, always. So if I'm having a stressful day, my pain might sit on a 5 every day, but on a stressful day, or if something happens to me, or most of the time it's things that they haven't predicted pop up, their pain increases. So yeah, I kind of introduce mindset pretty much straight away, but it's more around how are you finding that that's affecting your life, more so than talking about specific emotions. How is it affecting your life? Because then that gives me a benchmark to go back to on appointment 2 and 3 and go, and how are you going with that frustration, or how are you going with, having a short fuse? Are you finding that you're more regulated now? Have you got more patience? Those sorts of things. They haven't always made the connection between the two.
That's really interesting.
We spend a lot of time living in our heads and not necessarily inside our whole soul. And many of us talk about the body being a whole and not being able to disassociate the various elements, but our medical paths, and you hear so many people talk about having a science-based approach. Well, science it literally means to find out. It doesn't mean knowledge. It just means to find out. And yeah, that process of discovering the connection, whether it be the limbic system, whether it be polyvagal theory, all those things which are buzzing around in the buzzwords. And yes, there's a lot of research going into pain science right now. We're just in that process of discovering the journey, and that's exactly the approach that you're taking on that individual basis.
Well, I think we can overcomplicate it, but the nervous system's responsible for pain and how much pain you feel. It's also responsible for your defensive mechanisms and your emotions, and how we process memories and trauma. So if the same system's responsible for all of it, how can you just treat pain on its own?
That is so true. And something that is extremely overlooked in our field and in the field of bodywork and healthcare.
Well, a very clever psychologist that's local here said to me, it doesn't matter how many times I bring this car accident client in, talk therapy is not going to get rid of the trauma in his body. That's kind of the space I sit, is those types of clients.
I'm so happy right now. I can't even express how much I love these statements coming from you. Like, I'm very quiet, but I'm just like, wow.
I'm surprised, Jackie. You can talk. What is going on?
We're in a special space right now.
We are. Look, honestly, you are talking my language right now. I'm actually, if we want to get personal, I have been dealing with a lot of stuff myself from my own history, and a lot of it is emotional trauma, some physical trauma, but a lot of emotional. And I'm mid-40s, and I'm just realizing in my 40s how rubbish parts of my childhood were. Things, because I grew up in the 80s, and the 70s and 80s were a special time in Australia, a terrible time for a lot of kids. And and I'm only just realizing that now and trying to find ways to deal with that. And honestly, if I lived, less than 4.5 hours away from Mildura, I would be on your waiting list like in a flash, because all of this is just going, oh my God, Jackie, like this, yes, like this confirms everything that I am now discovering about myself. And, those extra things that like you said, we're not taught this stuff in massage school, and a lot of people don't know this stuff. And even some very smart people don't know and understand this stuff, and how much the nervous system regulates everything, and how important our emotions are. And yeah, I'm just like, whoa, okay, I'm having a moment over here. Sorry, guys.
No, it's completely fine, Jackie. And the thing that I say to clients is, if the emotions come up, they're meant to.
Yeah.
It's a safe space. It's a safe space for that. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
We're very good at compartmentalizing all the little folders in our mind.
Oh,
and then every now and again, someone flies one of those folders open and you don't have so much control on your filing system some more.
I don't like that. I don't like it when that happens.
I love it when that happens.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
That means I'm getting somewhere with the client.
Well, I have had a treatment with you, Kylie, and I had a little moment, which we talked about over text one day. I had a near-death experience at one point in my life, which I carry some physical scars from that. And physical touch was an important part of the recovery. And this is an experience nearly 20 years ago. And it was after that treatment with you, Kylie, that some images came back to me which I wasn't quite expecting, and things which I actually didn't directly remember. And it was the hospitalizing process. Now, going into hospital is something that saved my life, but I hadn't really realized the effect of surgery on my being, and flashbacks. And that was actually quite confronting.
And I think this is where you've got to be careful not to overthink it. Your nervous system's responsible for memories. It's responsible for emotions. And in a treatment, we worked on your nervous system for an hour. So it's kind of normal that, you would have flashbacks that because that's what we worked on, the injury.
I'm just like, I'm relating to David's comment so much, because I've seen that with my clients as well. Like I've had a client who was in, I can't remember, 3 or 4 car accidents, and the last one that she had was very minor. It was just a little bump. And she was just, because the previous ones had been a lot more traumatic, she was just so, I talked to her on the phone and via text, and she had to cancel a massage appointment because of this accident with me. And I said, okay, let's push it back a bit, and you come and see me in a couple of weeks. And she's like, oh, I'm going into work later, because this had happened in the morning. And I said, no, I don't think you're I think you need to take the rest of the day off. And she's like, no, it's fine. The car's sorted. I'm fine. And she called me, several hours later, just crying, because she's like, oh shit, like all this stuff just kept coming up, because this minor accident just brought back all of the subsequent, the previous accidents that she'd been in. And like everything David just said just reminded me of that and stuff happening with me, and I'm just sitting here going, holy shit.
I work with quite a number of people with whiplash injuries, and they'll come in expecting to be just you get sent out the door and never touched again. And have the conversation of, this is a lifelong injury. And you can see their eyes kind of bulge. It's like, yeah, your body has learned something about how to protect itself, and it's trying to do that. So you can go into remission with a whiplash injury, but the beep of a car horn, the sound of screeching tires, they can re-trigger that experience for you. And your body will shut down expecting the impact. And from that, your pain will come back.
There's so many stories, like I've got a client who originally didn't come in for a knee issue. She had headaches, but she was telling me a story about how she dislocated her knee in a pool and that she's not been able to, she's got issues with that knee. So every time she goes near water, her knee is in pain. They sent her to psychology and I've done all sorts of tests. There's nothing wrong with her knee. It was a memory of having that knee dislocated in a pool. For some reason, she just couldn't, it was in a loop. So every time the knee was near water, she would get knee pain. So me being me, of course, wanted to work on her knee. And we worked through that. And, now she can go in a bath and in a pool. I don't know. How do you talk therapy that away? I'm not really sure.
You can't.
Our bodies are extraordinarily complicated. And Dr. Carl talks about a couple he knows who are allergic to champagne without being allergic to champagne. And this couple were at a party where there were some dodgy prawns, but they happened to be drinking champagne at the time, and they got extraordinarily sick. But their body has associated the illness with the champagne, not with the prawn. And just the smell of the champagne is enough to them to go, oh, I can't be near it anymore.
Wow. That is so fascinating. I have always loved that idea that scent can take you places, and there are several scents that I as soon as I smell them, I'm back in my childhood, or I'm elsewhere. And that's so fascinating. I'm loving this conversation. Not the prawns, though.
Got an important question for you, Kylie. And working with people with chronic pain and with trauma, you'll hear some pretty powerful stories. And what do you do to, I guess, protect yourself from taking on that trauma yourself?
It's taken a little bit of practice. And to be honest, I've probably been better at boundaries at work than I have been in my outside of work life. For that reason, because my hands are on their nervous system for an hour. So I had to get very good at it's theirs, it's not mine. And the other thing, if I get too embedded in it, I could be thinking about that client in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, until their next appointment in a month. And they might have moved on from where they were the following day. It's not mine. It's not mine. It's their belief. It's their, I guess, journey to go through, and whatever it is that they have to learn from it, I'm just kind of part of it.
So it's much better for them if you can really just let it go on the day the same way that you're hoping that they will.
Well, it even has to be shorter than that, Jackie. So that client's leaving and I have to reset for the next one. So if I haven't reset, the next client gets that. They're asking from the same attention for their hour as the last client. And it's not about me, it's about them. So
I think that this is something that people generally, massage therapists in particular, really need to work on a little bit more. I know there are some people that do that very well, that they can, they don't take home their clients' stuff with them per se. But I think that this is something that we as an occupation need to maybe get a bit better at.
And I think, there's some simple things that you can do to shift away from the last client. So I'm very routine and ritual with certain things. As a massage therapist, we always wash our hands in between clients, but I'm very particular. I use very cold water. It's a shift between one client to the next. I wear a uniform for a very particular reason. I'm in work mode, and then when I go home, I'm not in work mode. There's certain things that I'll do. I don't stay at work on a break. So my lunch break, I'm out of there. I mean, and that's not going to work for everyone. I've heard Stuart Hines say that he walks in the door and showers straight away because that's his ritual and how he shifts. It's finding those quick, easy little shifts between clients.
So no one teaches this stuff at massage school.
No.
I am human though. I learnt the hard way. I got empathy burnout.
That's definitely something that's come up in conversation before. That empathy burnout where you're just like, just exhausted from caring. Yeah.
How did you bring yourself back from that?
So there was a couple of things that contributed to that. I had some personal stuff as well going on, and so I think I just didn't get the balance right. I routinely go to the gym. I found I wasn't walking my own talk. So I sort of went, okay, get to the PT, increase your exercise, do the check out when you need to. I actually had some counselling. I did all the things, pulled myself back out of it, and I don't know. I find I get the balance better now. Read this. I don't know. We just have to listen to our own signs too. We're a bit shit at that.
And
yes.
It's okay to ask for help, just like our clients have asked for ours.
Do you ask for help?
Sometimes. Usually too late. Well, actually, it's not too late. Just I could do better at asking for it sooner.
Well, in David's defense, I'm rubbish at asking for help as well. I'm probably worse than he is.
We've grown up in different eras. Well, so we've grown up in a similar era. We're in a different era now, but 20 years ago, you bury things and get on with life.
Yeah,
that's taught you from a very young age, and breaking that pattern is hard. That is programmed as to just how you do things. It's our duty to program the generation coming through to be better than what we are.
I think for a lot of people, it's very difficult to find the help that is actually going to work for them as well, because we get told, if you're having mental health issues, you need to go and see a psychologist. But there are so many different kinds of psychologists as well. Different ones do different things. And then maybe you actually need the massage as well to work through the physical manifestation of that trauma, like we've obviously been talking about. But I think a lot of people don't really understand their options. So I know this is something David and I've chatted about before. But yeah, it's really hard to know what to actually do, especially when time is a resource you don't have a lot of, and money, it may not be a resource you have a lot of as well. Where is the best way to utilize that? Well, obviously it's going to see a psychologist and doing some talk therapy, isn't it? Because that's what we're all told.
I've just done my update in ethics in practice, I think it's called. And in that it says that if a client says anything that's, emotional or that, they're struggling mentally, we're to refer them to a counsellor or a psychologist for that help, because that's not supposed to be part of what we do.
Yeah.
So probably 80% of the clients that I see have multiple psychologists already. So I don't know which one I'm supposed to send them to. Especially if it's intertwined in their pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get it.
Complex.
There's some things about it that, that doesn't always apply to every piece of the puzzle when it comes to clients.
It is complex. And honestly, personally, I have found that a lot of people, especially the people that I see, which is generally speaking 40 plus women, they just want to be heard. That's their biggest complaint. They go to the doctor, they go even to the counsellor, the therapist, whoever, and they feel dismissed still. They're like, well, nobody is actually validating what I'm saying. So I do a lot of validation and listening and agreeing with my clients, because they're not hearing that from their GP. They're not hearing that from the specialist. They're not hearing it from the physiotherapist. So, yeah, it is complex.
I think that's why NLP was the next thing for me, because I needed to add something to what I was already doing, to cover and connect with that emotional layer that goes with pain and the belief patterns. Because if you want to be able to make a real difference and completely reprogram chronic pain, you have to do both. Otherwise, they're in the same cycle of, you get a massage and you have 2 or 3 days without a headache and it's back again, because the reason why it was there is still there. How long do you get relief-wise, Jackie, when you have a headache?
Me personally?
Yeah.
For a long time, I wouldn't get headaches very often. I'd get a couple of months and they'd go away within a day or so. And now it's chronic. It's a lot. So I'm actually more surprised when I don't have a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and sometimes it's like it sort of sits about a 3 or a 4. And it's like a little bit of an underlying, and I can tell, something's not quite right. And it all stems from my neck. It's all back of the neck issues. And then if it will get worse, and it'll be on a bit of a cycle. So it'll usually sit underlying for a little while. Sometimes I can make it go away just with, manipulating that myself. And then other times it will just build and build. And then I have to take a fair amount of pain relief and just wait for it to go away. And I'll spend like 2 or 3 days massaging my own neck and my jaw and, all that sort of stuff. And yeah. And then it will go away for a little while, maybe a week, and then it will just gradually build again. So yeah. It's not fun.
No. And I'm listening to you. You've got coping strategies running already.
Oh, yeah.
And beliefs around it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. If I didn't do as much self-massage so I massaged like a lot through my face, my jaw, all around my ears, and all through my neck area, upper traps, basically anywhere around my neck that I can reach. And I do that like probably once or twice a week. I would not be able to function because the headaches end up being that bad. I wouldn't be able to work as much as I do, and I do work a lot. So
this journey of learning to work with chronic pain has been a journey for you, that you've had to personally develop these skills without a lot of guidance from anyone saying, this is how you work with chronic pain. So these are the things you need to tap your head twice, rub your belly, spin around 3 times, and that's the protocol, and it will just work. Which, if you're listening to this, I hope you can understand that's a attempt at humor. But you've started to document the steps that you take, and have put that together in a couple of courses. One being the secret cues, and the other one being the chronic pain mapping method. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what they might expect through those resources?
Over COVID, I kind of went, I had a busy brain and wanted to put it to something. So over the years, I've listened to a lot of therapists, and the gaps that they have, they didn't really make sense to me, I guess. A lot of therapists have issue with rebooking. It actually makes no sense to me. Rebooking is a part of a treatment process. Like it's a part of the treatment plan. It it isn't something that's separate. It's not about you as a therapist, how do I rebook? Or what if the client doesn't like me? It's not about that. It's if you're going to start treating somebody, the rebooking process is actually a part of the treatment process. So I kind of look at what I do in the clinic and went, well, how would this was after I did NLP, because no one's taught me what I do. So I kind of put a process in place and started mapping it. So it doesn't matter if you use cups, it doesn't matter if you're a needle, like if you do dry needling, it doesn't matter what your modality is. This is kind of like the map that sits over the top. It's the things that they don't teach you. It's the how to connect with a client. It's the rapport. It's what language to use, how to profile your client, what things to say and probably not to say, especially if you've got your hands on them for an hour. We don't want to be programming their pain by the words that we use with clients. So it starts off with the physiology of the therapist and the client. So the client, what we don't think about as therapists is our own body language and tone and persona is introduced to a client before we speak. They're reading that before we've even spoken to them. In the same way that we do that with our clients, we're assessing gait, we're putting a picture together of our client in the same way before they speak. So that's the start. Then we're going to rapport, how to gain rapport, how to lose rapport. We sort of touched a little bit on the routines and the processes in between clients that matter in breaking rapport and then gaining rapport with the next client. Language and body language can help with rapport as well. Then we're going to profiling, which is which words we use. So there's 4 dominant profiles, and you can pick which profile someone is by what words they use. I've actually split that one, and that's the separate course that's on its own, just because I think it's so valuable for everyone to know, and not just therapists. I mean, we can do that in normal everyday conversations that we're having, at coffee or at work. Why is it that we don't connect with certain people and with others we just click? Usually there's a fair indication within profiling. And then, of course, the nervous system, that's my nerd. That's where I kind of unpack that emotional and physical side and why they can't be separated. And we're talking about chronic pain anyway. So yeah, it's kind of like a map that sits over the top of our treatments.
That sounds really, really interesting.
If you'd like to know more, we will put a link to those courses within the show notes. If you are listening in the car, look out for kyliehickscoaching.com and you can find the courses in there. Or once you've pulled over and you're feeling safe, you can click on the link in the show notes.
You are on Facebook and Instagram as well, Kylie, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of us that love social media and love to find people on the Facebook.
I don't know. I find socials interesting. I post things just because I'm interested in the responses more so than anything. Mostly because I'm bored.
I like that you post quirky things.
Yeah, I do. And you know what's really interesting? The lamest stuff that I put on there, I post the lamest things on purpose, and that's the stuff that gets the most interest. The things that I really think about and plan, and they're profound, I get crickets. It's hilarious to me.
Because it's social media. It's supposed to be fun. We have just released an episode about Facebook and how people are often using social media for babies, dogs, and people hurting themselves in the reels.
Yeah.
And not to take life seriously. Anything with a cartoon shirt or with my dog will get attention.
It is. You remember how it consumed us?
But we've got a variety of listeners who are tuning into this podcast. Some have been in the industry for 20-something years, and many of whom are either students or are just starting out in their career that they love. What is one tip that you would want our listeners to take away today?
Are we talking about any therapist?
Any therapist.
Put down the need to be right. If you're right all the time, you can't learn a bloody thing. Nothing. It's your way. It's just your way. Just put down the need to be right and ask questions and learn. Be curious.
That is excellent advice.
I love it.
But for newbies, need a mentor.
Okay. That's interesting because that's something that is a bit controversial. Some people are like, yes, you absolutely need a mentor. And some people are like, no. You need to just learn. You need to just do all the courses.
It depends on who you are and what's your learning style.
Yeah. So the reason for when I say mentor, if you want to do something that someone else has already achieved, why wouldn't you learn from them?
That's great.
So I mean, it's no different to I've done so many courses and adapted so many of the techniques that I've learned in a course, I've adapted to the way that works best for me. I mean, my neck technique that I do, that I have tailored and played with and honed down to be quite particular now, I learnt from a masterclass with Gary, is it Lavis? I was lucky enough to be the guinea pig for one of the techniques that he was teaching. And there was a moment where I went, when someone's doing a technique and they've got hold of, like, he had hold of the back of my neck, and I went, he's confident with this. Like, our touch sense knows when the therapist that's doing the technique is confident. And so what happened is usually I'm terrible at relaxing my neck because I have trust issues. And it allowed me to actually just let my neck go. And the technique was just a stretch technique. There was, it was great and everything, but it allowed me to realize that when I go into clinic, how I do a technique matters to the client. They feel it.
Yes.
And so that technique, I was then able to adapt with the way that I was already working with the neck, with my trigger point work. And it was one of those light bulb moments for me where I went, how I do a technique, the client can feel. That, you want to get that let go moment.
That is gold.
And I just don't know whether therapists think about that and deep enough. They'll be telling the client to relax. We're responsible for that.
Yes.
I think that one depends on the headspace of the therapist. Are they a mechanical person?
Yeah.
And they're looking for the physical reason for what's wrong? Or are they an intuitive worker where they sense this person just needs to feel safe today?
Yeah.
How can I help that person to feel safe? If you go in and poke and prod, I'm sensitive, I've come here because I've got these things. Oh, let's cause you more pain today. How will they respond to that?
We are talking about all of the things that no one really talks about today. My God, we've covered everything.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
It's so good, though, to talk about these things with other therapists. This is what I love. Love it.
Yeah. I've kind of popped your brain, Jackie.
You have, yeah. I'm signing up for your course. I've decided. You have popped my brain.
So if our listeners have any questions to ask you, Kylie, how can they best contact you?
I'm sure you've got more links on there than I already know, David.
We'll put some links in the show
Facebook,
notes, definitely.
Email. Yeah. I'm not that hard to find.
Yeah.
Just a bit tricky to get into.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been enlightening and amazing, and I've loved every minute, and I'm so glad we have had you on the show.
We've had some moments.
Yeah, you were like a little gold nugget just hiding on the edge of the river that we've just
Yes.
picked up and found, and you're an absolute treasure. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to our episode today. I hope you have taken away some magic from all of this information that we haven't overwhelmed you too much, because I'm feeling a touch overwhelmed myself right now. So hopefully you have some space to breathe and come back for more next week. So thank you, everyone, for listening.
We'd love to know what your key takeaway from today is. You can either pop it into the Q&A of this podcast through Spotify, or maybe leave us a comment through one of the social media channels, our Facebook page, or through Instagram. But if you like what we are doing through the Folding Towers podcast, why not like and subscribe through your favorite podcasting app so that you never miss an episode? And if you happen to be listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating or a review.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, David. Thanks, Kylie. See you guys next time.
Thanks, Kylie.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.